end of every day. You are the girl that love, that love. That's not how the story ends. In 3 days, he rose again. That's love. We say that's not how the story ends. Come on in the room. Come on. How many of you know that's not how your story is? That's not how your story ends on tonight. I know we're beginning the new year. This is the first Therapy Tuesday of the year. I'm excited. I'm excited. I am excited. I know y'all, I've missed you. I haven't seen you since last year, but guess what? It's a new year. It's a new year. There's some things that we're going to get started this year. And guess what? It's all about you. It's all about what God is doing in your life. Resetting for this new year. Staying the course, knowing what to do in your life and all this stuff that you've accomplished, your goals that you've set. What is your vision? And so we're talking about resetting, staying that course. What do you do in a crowded lane? One thing about that song, that's not how your story. I don't care what last year looked like, but this year in 2024, I'm here to tell you, God is going to do something magnificent for you. If you feel that, and if you're with me, put a hand clap in the chat. Say, yeah, this is going to be my year. My year won't look like last year. Y'all, if you can't tell, I'm excited. I feel the Holy Ghost on tonight. I know some powerful things are about to happen. I haven't seen you in a little while, but guess what? God has something for you. So tonight, for those of you who haven't been with us for Therapy Tuesday, it's a segment that started in March of last year when my great apostle, Mary D. McKenzie, passed, and it birthed something great with me and Miss Janae Ponder. For those of you that are familiar with us, this is something we do every month, most time on the second Tuesday of the month, to pour into you. One thing about here at Love and Faith, we believe in your mental health, kingdom health, spiritual health, emotional health. We need everything to be together because you can't be kingdom lacking on any aspect. So this is what God has given me to do. I got to pour into you because I have to pour into myself. So, hey, that's why I've been on my little sabbatical. I had to take some time with me and God and isolate because I know what God is doing in this year. So, hey, we starting a little late, but is it really late? Because it's never too late. It's never too late to start, as long as you get started. So I'm excited. I'm excited. So guess what? Tonight is your night to get some tools, to get some knowledge, to get some encouragement. Hey, it's almost the end of January. Well, we got one day left. And you say, you know what? I said I was going to the gym and I ain't been yet. It's okay. You got tomorrow. You got this weekend. Just do what you can do. Don't overcommit yourself. But I'm not going to take her shine. So tonight we have LifeSpire CEO, the founder, Miss Janae Ponder. LifeSpire is out of Deltona, Florida. It's a family practice. They want everybody. If you need them, they're there. Whatever you need, your emotional health, finance, whatever you need to gain control of, guess what? LifeSpire is here to help you. LifeSpire wants you to be successful from the inside out. Because a lot of times we're successful in our pockets, but we're not successful in our minds. We're not successful in our hearts. And so that's what LifeSpire is for, to inspire you to be better at being the best you possible. So we're going to have come to the stage here in a second, Miss Janae Ponder. But y'all, as she comes, I need you to give a hand clap. If you interact with us, if you got questions, if there's something that you're confused about, we want you to interact because this is about you. It's not about me. I just happen to be a facilitator. I ain't nobody important. It's about you. You are the most important person in this broadcast. Whether you're watching the replay, hey, our numbers will be up there. If you got a question during the segment, text us. If you don't want somebody to see your name, you're too embarrassed, that's okay. Text us your question. We want you to get answers. We are a family here. One thing about Love and Faith, we're a family atmosphere. We're a family environment. There's no stranger. Your past isn't too bad. There's no fall that you've hit that you can't get up from. So Love and Faith and LifeSpire is here to collaborate to bring the best you out of you. So as we bring Miss Janae Ponder to the stage, y'all, I just need you to put some fire in the chat. Get a hand clap if you're a business owner, if you a boss mom, because guess what? This is going to be a boss mom that's about to talk to you. All right, now, Miss Janae, we're going to bring you up.
All right. So I feel like I'm at home. We've been doing this for quite some time now. I'm so happy to be back in this new year. Honored. Talking about mental health and anything related to wellness is my jam. So I'm going to give you guys a little disclosure. I don't think the way that I'm going to present this information is the way that you're going to expect it. So I need you to lean in and pay attention with me. So today's topic is resetting for a new year, knowing your pace in a crowded lane. So, we're going to be talking about resetting that crowded lane this new year. Everybody has this new year, new you attitude going on. But I just want to offer you guys some nuggets as you guys reset or have reset it or are thinking about resetting. Some of my objectives for today, I want to make sure you increase your understanding of what resetting means and what it is, offer some solutions for success, and most importantly, I want to educate you. I want to make sure you leave maybe a millimeter or maybe a centimeter bigger intellectually. I want you to grow intellectually after we have this little discussion. As always, please take care of yourself. If I trigger you, I'm not sure what your triggers may or may not be, but if you find yourself triggered, get yourself some support. Some recommendations for success. I always recommend and remind my audiences to remain present. We are in the evening time right now. You're doing dishes, you're probably cooking, probably trying to get ready for the workday tomorrow. I ask that you give yourself 30 minutes just to learn and grow, and some time to kind of get off the hamster wheel. So remain present with me, participate. Let's have a good discussion. I have my comment section up. I will pause and interact with you and take notes. Taking notes is kind of like a form of journaling. And it helps you to build new neural pathways toward thinking differently, and it also unlocks your subconscious. So journaling is really good, so that way you can really internalize some of the material that I'm going to present. So the first thing I want to ask is, what exactly is resetting? In the research world, they call it the fresh start effect. And I'll explain what that is. It's really a behavioral science concept that talks about the psychological practices that happen every time something new happens. So it's a tendency to be more motivated and goal driven at the start of something. So that could be a lot of different areas. It could be at a childbirth, it could be a new job, it could be on Monday, it could be the first of the month, it could be January 1 because it's a new year. So it's normally at the start of something. Sometimes buying a new house, buying a new car, something psychological happens to us where what we do is we disassociate our past from the present moment, and we get this boost of motivation and energy, and we just want to do things differently for whatever reason. It is psychological, it's also environmental. So I have another question to ask you guys. If you're listening to me today, what motivates you to reset? What has motivated you to reset in the past? And as you guys are coming into the comments, I know for me personally, what has motivated me to reset is the same thing I just explained, something new. When I get that burst of motivation, the birth of my children helped me to reset. Sometimes I get so tired of where I'm at till I reset. But what motivates you to reset? Okay, we'll wait for you guys to come in. Again, so it's a birthday, a new year, the first of the month, just being sick or tired of your conditions. Sometimes intentional planning will help us to reset. So we have strategically thought about what solutions are and we start to implement them. We're more motivated, so we reset. And then everyone else is doing it. It's an expectation. Those are the two danger zones right there. When you reset because it's trendy, because everyone else is doing it, because people say you're supposed to be doing this right now, or you feel the urge to be compelled to do something. So I have this picture here just to highlight what happens, with propaganda, with society, with the world. And I want to talk about social norms, Did you know that sometimes we're not called to reset because of some of those first or new things that I just talked about? And those are all called temporal landmarks. So, a temporal landmark is a new happening in your life that pushes you and gives you the urge to reset. So, social norms are not exactly that, but social norms are things that society says you ought to or you should be doing. They're kind of like these unwritten rules of society. So, did you guys realize that on January 1, there is a social pushing and thrust and normality toward getting your life together on January 1? So we're not all making this decision to just reset. We've been programmed to do it. That's exactly what I'm saying. It is a social norm for you to start over on January 1st. But here's the kicker, what we don't realize. And I'll pose a question. Is resetting always good? Yay or nay? Tell me in the comments. Or think about it amongst yourself. Resetting is not always good. And this is why I'm having this discussion with you. I told you guys I was going to take an approach that you probably were not expecting. Resetting is not always good. I'm going to use this quote to help support what I'm saying. Don't be afraid to start over. It gives you a chance to build something better. But when you start over at the wrong time, it gives you a chance to also do worse, possibly. And this is where mindfulness comes in, assessing who you are as a person, your level of performance, what you're producing, where you're headed, and not just join the bandwagon of January 1st. Let's restart. Because not everybody is in a position to restart or restart with the outcome being the intended goal. So, I'm going to talk about complacency now and the irony of complacency. So, complacency is when we get caught up in a routine or a habit. And even though we're in this routine or habit, we're not willing to change, but we do have an expectation that our goals and outcomes will change. So, that is complacency. And here's the irony of it. Did you guys realize that the act of resetting every year is actually a part of your complacency routine and cycle? We have become complacent with the idea that if I reset on January 1, my life will be better. But we never deal with our internal being. There's never a mind shift. We never actually go to therapy and get help with our trauma. There's really no real change other than the date. And if you don't deal with the interior of who you are, it doesn't matter. January 1 can cycle 100 times and nothing will ever change. So you want to get out of the habit of just resetting for the just for the sake of resetting. Why are you resetting? What's motivating you to reset? What is your intended outcome for resetting? I always say this: enhance your efforts is sometimes way better than just resetting. So, enhancing what you're doing or changing your strategy might be what you need as opposed to just resetting. So, if you're somebody, it's right now, what, January 30th, and maybe you didn't reset, maybe you didn't start going to the gym like the world has been thrusting us to do. Maybe you didn't go to that vision board party. Maybe you didn't do something you were supposed to do, but that's okay. You do not have to reset on January 1. Guess what? You can reset anytime you get ready. And guess what? You don't even have to reset. You could just enhance what you're already doing, because what a lot of us don't realize is we've already done some enhancing and improvement in December of 2023, and it was working for us. And what ends up happening is we end up throwing the baby out with the wash water just because it is a normality to reset on January 1, when all we really need to do was keep doing what we were doing and we were already on a path for success. So, what ends up happening that keeps us from being successful as we enhance our efforts without resetting is the self-limiting beliefs. And self-limiting beliefs gets in the way of a lot. It's really hard to reset, or when we reset, we're going to end up in the same place if we don't deal with the beliefs that keep us in the same place. A lot of limiting beliefs are based on past failures. We will use our past failures as evidence that we'll never be good enough to improve or achieve anything else. It's very demotivating when we let these self-limiting beliefs. I always tell my clients it's kind of like sandbox thinking. Oh, I can't go to the left because of this. I can't go up because of this. I can't go to the right because of this. I can't go down because of this. And you end up stuck in a sandbox and you can't get out of it because of your mindset, because of your limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs contributes to mental unwellness. It's associated with a lot of anxiety and depression. Limiting beliefs convince you that you're incapable of improving. You literally believe you can't do it. And I'll share a story just to let you know I too have lived with limiting beliefs. One of my limiting beliefs as a business owner is nobody's going to be able to run my business like I am because this is my baby. I don't want to have any financial issues. My belief makes sense. It's rational, right? But the issue is it keeps me from hiring help, which keeps me more overworked, which keeps me tired. So I have really been working through that belief. I've been talking to colleagues about it. I've even saw scenarios where people have hired people and they're great. And I'm getting to the place now where I understand that just because my belief was keeping me in a place where I couldn't be my full self or maximize my resources doesn't mean I can't overcome that. It just takes some work and it also takes awareness, being aware of what your limiting beliefs are and doing the work you need to do to dispel them and change them and alter them. So go see a therapist. Go talk to someone. Don't sit with yourself and just deal with those limiting beliefs. You don't have to suffer inside this. Find somewhere where someone can kind of help you comb through it and make sense of it. And I want to give you some wisdom for resetting. Know your levels. Know your levels. Know where you are and know where you want to head. Understand if 2023 you did not do well. Understand areas where you need to focus on and do better. Understand where you did great. I'm always looking at a balanced perspective. We're not just going to look at everything we did wrong. Did you realize that nobody on this earth is doing 100% of things wrong? What did you do well? Do you know what you did well? And did you give yourself credit for what you did well? Acknowledge the progress you have made. You have made progress in some areas, and it's really important that you acknowledge that. Learn from the past. Don't live in the past. That's a mindfulness perspective. Be where your feet are. We do go to the past, but we don't go to live in it and ruminate. We go back to the past to get data and information that's going to give us solutions for today so we can be better. Do not depend on January. Let me tell you something. January has nothing to do with the greatness that's inside of you. It's all about your mind. It says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, not be transformed by the renewing of the date. The date, January 1, means nothing. So it says resetting for a new year. That's the topic, right? I'm going to encourage you guys to reset for a new you. Reset for you. Don't reset because of the date. Reset for you. Make the most of your resets all year long. So if you identify, yes, there was something I was not doing right in 2023, and this is definitely an area I need to reset. When you reset and you get that boost of motivation and invigoration, like take full advantage of it. Put yourself in that process and lean into it. I want to give you a little bit of facts about resetting. So, resetting is not one size fits all. Just because you're a human being and you're on earth and it's January 1, that doesn't mean you should just reset and it's going to be great for you. If it isn't broken, don't fix it. If you were doing well in December 2023, keep on doing what you were doing January 1. Don't stop. Don't believe the hype. Don't let propaganda cause you to mess up. Research shows that people who are doing well actually do worse after they reset. So don't be a part of that number in the statistics from the research. If you're doing well, keep doing what you're doing. Don't get caught up in the complacency cycle or the irony of complacency. Well, it's January 1. Let me reset. Let me reset with the same toxic mindset that's keeping me in this position. And then 2025 will roll around. Cool, it's January 1. Let me reset. And I'll have the same toxic mindset. And you know what? It's okay because January 2026 is coming around. January 1, 2026 comes around. Great, let's reset. So stop the complacency cycle that we're in year after year. January 1 has been around for some people for 50 or more years, and you're still in the same place you were 50 years ago. Don't let that be you. Get some help, figure out what's happening, and don't reset for the sake of resetting. Figure out what's really happening and understand your levels. Reset when you're not doing well. Now, December 2023 was a nightmare for you and you were not well, yes, hit the reset button. Go for it. Do it. Avoid resetting if what you're doing is working. If it works, keep working it. So I always like to check for understanding. That's pretty much what I have for you for resetting. I knew that what I was going to present was not going to be ideal or typical. You guys actually heard a therapist say you don't have to reset. Yes, because that's sensationalism and propaganda. No, you don't have to reset. There's a time to reset and there's a time not to reset. Get very clear about what it is for you and what you need. So, my true or false question to check for understanding, and type T for true, F for false in the comments. Let's see what you retained from this discussion. Resetting every year is good for everyone. Is that true or false? That is false. Resetting every year is not good for everyone. Resetting is only good if you were not doing well in 2023. Um, Performance levels are important when it comes to resetting. Is that true or false? That's true. You got to know your levels. You're going to reset and you don't even know what you're producing. Well, what are you working toward? Or are you just a part of the social norms and just going along with society that says January 1, that's when we're supposed to hit the reset button? All right. Thank you guys. I see your falses and trues and you're right on the money. The fresh start effect is the same thing as resetting. That is true. The fresh start effect is an actual research behavioral science term that conceptualizes resetting and what it means. And it's this tendency to want to change at the start of something. All right. True. That is correct. Thank you guys. You all thought I was going to vision bore you to death today. Is that true or false? I would say that's true. Yes. There's this idea that all of the healers or people who teach people about wellness is vision board and change your life in January 1, get your life together. And I get it. Some people do use that perspective, but I'm not a one size fit all type of therapist. I think that everybody needs something different at different times, and it's my job to investigate what it is before prescribing like a one size fits all method. Some people need to reset, and some people do not need to reset. You need to know which one you are, and whichever one you are, start working towards that. You have to live in the past in order to learn from it. True or false? And by the way, the one about me vision boarding you guys to death, that was subjective. Okay, you in the last one is actually false. You do not have to live in the past in order to learn from it. You have to just visit it, just review it, just observe it, just notice the things you've been through, and take that data with you in the present moment. But you don't want to live in the past because when we start living there, we ruminate, and that causes depression and trauma to come up. So I always leave you guys with some resources. The book that I'm going to recommend today is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book just talks about taking very ant-sized steps to making a big goal. It has sold over 1 million copies. It's highly sought after. They also have a workbook on Amazon. I do believe in self-help. Not everybody is ready for therapy. Therapy requires a level of readiness. Maybe you might read this book, do a little self-work, and then you might be ready for a therapist. Maybe you might not need a therapist after this book. But I'm going to recommend this book. I am also going to recommend my very good friend. She has a counseling agency, a private practice that is online. She takes most insurances and she is across the United States. Her agency is called Satchelin Therapy, and you can actually request an appointment right on their website. A good phone number for them is 407 283 7653. Again, she's my good friend. She has a group of therapists all across the United States. They have immediate openings. If you are someone who needs help trying to figure out if you're one of those people that need to reset or need not to reset, therapy might be a good place to start to kind of help you sort through that and figure out what you need to do. So as always, I always open the floor for questions, thoughts, or feedback. I am all ears. If you have any questions, put them in the comments for me. And thank you guys for participating. I appreciate it. I see Fatal Queen 74, Butler, Ayla, Kenta. Thank you guys for being here and for participating. I really appreciate it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Uh, so much good information. There's some things that I think at times people like, what? I ain't got to reset. What? That don't even make sense. And so I think, especially with church, it's always, a lot of times people don't understand that, resetting sometimes is not good, but renewing your mind, because renewing your mind means, hey, I'm refocusing on what my goal or vision is. I don't have to start all the way back over, but let me re-get my priorities straight. Whatever those priorities is, whether it's, getting your debt off, getting some weight off, because it didn't change. Like she said, January 1 does not change your situation, but it's about you changing you. And one thing we want to do is make sure you are good going forward. How are you the best you? What is it that you need to, just move forward? Because sometimes you get stuck. Sometimes life happens, situations happen. You may have been going to work today and just life. So what do I do to move forward? Because I have these goals, I have these ambitions to do, and I don't know what to do. So as you guys, put your questions in. A couple of questions that I got from a few individuals was, one, why is it so hard to begin something that I already know I needed to start?
Ah, I think a lot of times when it's really hard to start something, it's usually because of trauma. Like a lot of people are in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, it's really neurological. Your brain internalizes this is what keeps me safe. Fear and safety and all those things are wired in the brain. So if your brain says, don't try new things because it's really scary and that's how you stay safe, that is literally in your being. You carry that in your body, so you don't have to even think about it. You will subconsciously not try new things because of fear. And that's where therapy comes into play, because we really unpack those thoughts. We really understand what's happening on the inside, and in some cases it is organic. You might need medication to help. um and it's just ingrained. It's survival is a part of our existence, and it just happens naturally. We know how to survive and adapt. um and sometimes it takes therapy to help just kind of rewire what we think we need to survive. We don't always need, like, for instance, what you needed when you were a child to survive, you don't need in your 30s and 40s. But your brain doesn't know that. It just knows it wants to live and survive. So through therapy, you can really process, how can I remold or remodel my life so that way I don't you bring a shield to a thumb fight, like I always say. How can I show up as my best self without allowing my trauma to bully me and tell me I need things that I really don't need?
Awesome. So another thing that, a question that, and I was trying to understand the question, but it asks, why is it the norm for people to begin at January 1? What's so common that I can't start in March or I can't start in August, when maybe the seasons change? Why is it always January? And I get the the question said that they got anxiety about January.
Listen, I can tell you, when you go in Target, it's December 31st. They done marked down all the Christmas stuff 75% off, and they got the elastic bands and the weights right at the door meeting you. They got the scales to the front. So there is a psychological programming toward you need to do things to be a better version of yourself. And these are the things you need. So you're not only told you need to change through marketing strategies and the world around you, but you're also told how to change. You don't even get to make the decision of, well, do I need to exercise more right now? Is that in alignment with my goals? But it's all around you. It's in the advertisements. And guess what ends up happening? Guess what everybody else around you is talking about? How they joined the gym, how they're doing this and doing that. So not only is it a marketing thing, but then it becomes like a social nuance because everybody's talking about what they're doing. And subconsciously, we know that everybody wants to be a part and be accepted. And what ends up happening is, in order to be a part and be accepted, you'll find yourself going along with social norms because it seems like the right thing to do. And you haven't even processed, wait a minute, why am I doing this? There's somebody listening to me right now with a gym membership and they don't even need to go to the gym because of this programming.
Look, I can say that was me. I had that gym membership and I hadn't touched it. Last year, I said, but I was mad at me. Look, I'm gonna be transparent and honest. Look, I had a thought. I said, yeah, I'm gonna cut the pounds down, and then life happened, But instead of me saying, oh, in January I'm gonna start, one thing that I realize is let me do what I can do with my schedule. Whether it be going to the gym one day, doing a workout at home, because as long as you starting, and I think at times we get overwhelmed that, oh, I got to do this, but do it at your pace. And that's one thing about this. You got to find your pace in this year of 2024. What has God been told you to do? Not just to do this year, but what has God been told you to do that you like, you know what? Let me just start. Even if it's saying, hey, I want to stop sweet. Sometimes we try to do things cold turkey, and some people can. But if you can't, you can say, hey, I used to eat 8 cookies. Now I eat 6. Guess what? That's a victory. And I think as progress. A culture, we have to celebrate those small victories so that you can be successful throughout your year. And Janae, can you talk about that? Even just celebrating small victories to achieving the highest goals that you have set before you.
Absolutely. Like one thing in therapy, the reason why I am a therapist, I love it. I like progress. I used to work in the ICU for 2 years. And most of my clients went to heaven. I got a little bit down. Like, I want to see you progress. I want to see you work toward a goal. So, even in therapy, I have learned to celebrate the small things that clients change. I am literally a detective for that. I mean, I don't care if it's something as small as they used to not be able to talk to strangers in public, but maybe they spoke to somebody at the front desk here in the office. I'm like, I noticed you did that. I always look for an opportunity to acknowledge progress. But what ends up happening with us and ourselves is we're so hard on ourselves, and there's this thing that we carry around of not being good enough or being inferior, and we don't even give ourselves the credit we deserve. We've made so much progress. When you look back at 2023 and you look at where you are now, you know you're not the same person. You may be in a new house and you weren't in one last year. You may be in a new car, you weren't in one last year. You may be just a better person in general. You might be kinder. You might be a little more patient, but you haven't even paid attention to that because you're too busy focusing on what you don't have. But progress is all around us and we got to look at it. Those are the things that keep us motivating. Of course, you're not going to want to change anything if you think you're not good enough and you think you're a failure. Of course, you're going to want to change if you believe that you've changed and you can see it and you acknowledge it and you say it. So progress doesn't have to be huge. It just has to be progress.
And with that, one thing I want to add to that, about that progress, the Bible tells us not to compare ourselves. And I think, at the beginning of the year, there's a lot of comparison about who's doing what, who started this. And at times it can make you just say, forget it all. And I think maybe sometimes you got to limit your social media whenever you decide to start. I don't want to say at the beginning of the year, but when you decide to start, because sometimes social media or certain things, if you're not putting the right things in you, will derail you instead of influence you. And one thing you want to do is get something that will inspire you instead of infect you to stop. And so,
Mhm.
Janae, with that, what is your take on, you know, the social media aspect of starting it again, or knowing when to reset, you know, not based off of social media? Because
Mhm.
we're in a social media time and it's just so prevalent and it's in your face. So what advice do you have towards that?
Exactly what you said. I would say, know thyself so you can heal thyself. If you are mindful enough and you see that, man, every time I get on social media, I compare and I end up depressed afterwards, then wisdom says do what works. So that means being on social media at this particular moment is not working. You probably should take a break. But as a therapist, what I try to do, I always try to be realistic. I ask people, well, is it realistic for you to get off social media? And a lot of times, for some people, depending on their business, they just can't. Or it's just so ingrained in our society, it's really an unrealistic goal to completely get off social media, at least immediately, maybe gradually. So, what I teach is coping strategies and understanding the pattern. So, it may not be getting off social media, talk about progress and baby steps. It may be just limiting the time or avoiding the times where you see that thing that triggers you. Or it may be you just do Facebook and stay off Instagram. It may look different, but it doesn't have to be like cold turkey or drastic, but gradually get into a place where you just not expose yourself to those triggers or things that remind you of just how good enough you're not.
Okay. Well, awesome, awesome. Thank you for that feedback. Also, before we get off, y'all, I just got to brag on Miss Janae Ponder. You know, she has a lot of great things she's doing. I know we're talking about resetting and getting reset and focus, but you know, she also has some things that are therapeutic that I've taken a part in. You know, she has her 100 bold affirmations. She has her girl dad coloring book, and then she just released something. But I'm gonna let her talk about that for all the strong women, the boss moms, the CEOs, because you know she won't go and say nothing, but I'm going to say something. So, Janae, tell everybody about what you have and what this year is already releasing for you.
Okay, so I never am really compelled to talk about me, but I'm working through that, and not for any reason other than I just want to make sure I'm on assignment and on purpose. But yes, I do have some awesome projects that I've completed and that I am working on. I have released 3 coloring books in my coloring book collection called Coloring Books for the Soul. And my purpose was just to bring representation to the mindfulness arena. And that my first released book was Girl Dad for Black dads and daughter. If you go on Amazon and put Girl Dad, a coloring book for Black dads and daughters, it will pop right up. The second book in the collection is actually Fearless Queens. It is a coloring book for Black women. It has affirmations, and it is a personal journal basically of the fears I have endured and overcame, and the fears I've seen in other Black women. So if you go on Amazon and just put Fearless Queens, a coloring book for Black women, it will pop right up. You probably can search my name too, Janae Pond, and it'll pop up. The third book in the series, I haven't technically released yet, but it is on Amazon. For Friday is the release date that I want to share it with the public. But it's my most favoriteest of all of them, and it is called My Therapist is Black. And it is a real personal love letter to other Black therapists. I understand the plight of being Black, being a therapist, and having trauma related to just natural happenings of life, but also related to being BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, or a person of color. The coloring book is designed to give therapists respite in between sessions. It gives you little reminders like drink your water, therapist, do your notes, therapist, and it has representations. You're going to see dreadlocks, beard, suits. I have one particular art that says healer in a hoodie. You'll see therapists in hoodies. There's one image that says trap therapist, where one of the therapists has gold teeth because that's what our culture looks like. And it really is, like I said, a love letter to Black therapists. And I'm hoping to just make the world of therapy more comfortable for people that look like us on both sides of the couch. And the very last thing, which is the biggest thing, and I'm in the final stages. It hasn't officially been released because it's still in the editing phase, but it's 100 bold affirmations to calm your fears. It is a self help book that was designed to take 2 years to complete, just so we can start to really rebuild neural pathways toward not being afraid of those things that scares us to death. And I am going to start here locally something called a fear cafe. Not everybody's ready for therapy. Not everybody is ready to sit on the couch and be diagnosed. So fear cafes are basically come to meetings where I am not a facilitator or a leader, I'm an equal. We will have teas and coffees and cookies and cakes, and we're just going to talk about fear. Anything that comes up related to fear. We know that ancestrally we healed through in circles and through dialogue. So we're just going to talk about fear, and I will be releasing those dates for anybody in Volusia County who just wants to show up. You don't, and I'm not even going to force you to buy a book. I mean, if you want to come and just talk about fear, I obviously will talk about some of those affirmations that I have written. But come out and I will release the dates. And once I get the book completed, I do have a early order form, and I've already said the first 10 people who sign up to get a copy early, I will give you a free copy of the book. And there's also a companion journal that goes with the book. So that's all. I've been very busy walking in my purpose, and I intentionally did not reset in 2024. You know why? Because I have been doing very well. All I have been really focusing on is enhancing my efforts, because I don't want to reinvent the wheel, because what I'm doing works. I just want to do it a little bit better.
Well, thank you for that. We are excited about this year. And also, you all in the comments in the virtual arena, as you're going back, rewatching this, if there's some things that you may want to hear about this year as we're getting our calendar prepared for different events and topics we're going to discuss, both virtually and in person. We both have some events going on down in Florida and in North Carolina to make more awareness to mental health, because it's important. It's something that we need. It's something that honestly we go through every day. Hey, if somebody pulls out in front of you, you get anxiety. Guess what? That's mental health. Doesn't mean something's wrong with you, but sometimes it's dumbed down. So we want you to be okay. So if you have some things that you're feeling, you're going through, or that you want to discuss, please give us the information, as well as Miss Janae. Here is her website, as well as a number that if you have questions or for her, please reach out, text her, or, if you're looking for a therapist, her and her team are phenomenal. They're about to be all up and down the East Coast. So right now they are in North Carolina and Florida, and looking to continue to branch, if I'm not mistaken. And so she's everywhere, y'all. One thing about therapy I love, you don't have to be in front of that person to make a difference, but it's about connecting with that person. And I have seen what Janae can do myself. She is awesome. She is awesome. She is awesome. And she is changing lives. And if you know somebody that can benefit from the knowledge, even share these broadcasts, share the replays. They're on YouTube, on Facebook, because guess what? The information is still present. And so if you know somebody battling with anxiety, grief, or different things that we may have already talked about, or even yourself, like, hey, I'm feeling this way today. We have the tools. It's not just to go through the motion, but always so that you can go back to. That's the good thing about taking notes. But the thing about this, you can hear it. The Bible talks about what we hear. What are you intaking? It's not just the music, the sermons, they're great, but what tangible knowledge that you intake that you can make applicable to your life. So that's what we are here to do. So Janae, we thank you. We thank you. We thank you. We appreciate all of the knowledge and tools that you have given us tonight. And knowing that, hey, we may not have to reset, and some of us may need to reset, but I'm going to the gym in the morning. So, I'm just going to do better, because I got to get fit, not because I want to look a certain way, but I want to be healthy. Some people think fit means ass. Fit means I don't want clogged arteries. I want to be able to live. I want to be able to chase my daughter around, and so those are the things that you got to look for as you're getting your step going in this year. What matters to you? And it's okay, hey, if you had a breath walking up a flight of stairs, because guess what? I've been there. Look, I ain't going to talk about you. I'll talk about me. And I didn't like it, so I had to do something about it. So what are you going to do about your situation, whether it be with your health or your mental health, or maybe your finances? Because we have some things coming up here to help you better your finances, better your mental health, but ultimately better who you are as a person and your spirit. Because one thing about here at Love and Faith, we want you to have a better relationship with God and a better relationship with your family, because this is a family atmosphere. It's a family environment. We may be in wherever, you may be in Alabama, Florida, Texas, Hawaii, I don't know, but if you need somebody, we're not too far that you can't reach. So we are partnered with some amazing people that are here to support you. So Janae, thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. Y'all give Janae a hand clap, some fires. If there's something that you gain, give her a shout out, repost this and say, hey, you need to go watch this, whatever it may be. Because guess what? You don't know who's on your page or watching you, that there may have been something said tonight that will change their life. So Janae, we thank you so much. And we will see her next month for another Therapy Tuesday. Thank you so much, Janae. All right, y'all. Guess what? It's almost the end. I hate that we have to go, but I pray that you got something out of today. I pray that there was something that touched your life. It's not about me as the pastor at Love and Faith, but it's about this ministry. But what God has given me is, we're the body of Christ. And however I can help the body, however I can, give a little ointment here or there. That's what I'm here to do. I don't know it all. I may not be everybody's pastor, but that's okay. But one thing I know, God has called me to this. And so I'm excited about what God is doing in this ministry this year. We're coming up on 2 years, and hey, it's been a blessing. There's been some hills, there's been some valleys, but we're still here. And so it's just like a baby. Some people say terrible twos. I say discovery twos, because you're always discovering something about yourself. So I pray that you got some information tonight that will help you and help you go get to the next level, most of all, and help you to understand who you are and what it is that you need to do to get what you need moving forward. So we also have some things coming up in the next couple of weeks, that I want to let you know. So we're still partnered with Eternally Equipped. So, hey, if you guys know somebody that's looking for a Christian apparel, guess what? These guys are amazing, and we're about to drop some new stuff with them. Yes, I said it. We're about to drop some new stuff with them. They are about to produce my brand, By the Blood. You see the logo? That is Pastor AR, and I'm excited about it. We're doing some things, and so, hey, they have this discount code just for LFRCI. If you want to go get some merchandise, whether it be By the Blood, Eternally Equipped, or different things, you get 20% off your order. Who doesn't like a discount? But the great thing, they give back to the kingdom. Everything they do is about kingdom. And so we're trying to do it. I'm not sure if Janae's pre-order is still good, but hey, there's her bold affirmations. I want you to see that. And we're going to put the QR code up there for that. So that way, hey, you want to pre-order, you want to be a part of that. Guess what? We're all about supporting one another. If you know somebody that's doing something awesome, doing something kingdom, send them our way, because it's not just about us. So the other thing, hey, if you like what we're doing here, you want to sow into the ministry, you want to give to the ministry, we have our Cash App, $LFRCI, $LFRCI. We have our Givelify, we have our credit and debit card app. We also now have Zelle. You can Zelle us at LFR Church International at gmail.com, or we have Venmo. So we're just trying to cater to everybody. But I pray that there was something said today that you can take with you, that you can say, you know what, hey, I might need to go sit back on that. Or, hey, look at some of the previous Therapy Tuesdays. There might be something that can help you or a family member. So as always, I can never end this segment without praying for you, without pouring into you. One thing as we sat here that I heard the Lord say is that, don't allow what didn't happen to get in your way of getting what needs to happen done. Because sometimes, and I can say this even for myself, there were some things that didn't happen and it didn't go my way and I got stuck. God doesn't want you to be stuck in 2024. One thing about this year that God told me was this is the year of promises. I'm not sure what God has promised you, but I'm telling you, if you make your mind up and you put one foot in front of the other, those promises that God has spoke to you will come to pass. We also know this is the year of the door, the open door, the activated door. What doors do you need open? And I'm excited about it because the next series that we're starting this Thursday, that God has been marinating and dealing with me for the past couple of months, is called I Was Cut for This. There's so many things in my life that, when I thought about it and I look back and I said, God, why did this happen, or what was going on? But there's certain things that God is preparing you for this year. So join us on Thursday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time because I have a word just for you. But before we get out of here, let me pray for you. Father, we just thank you for the information and the knowledge that went forth on tonight. Father, as Miss Ponder poured out, Father, pour back into her. Father, continue to lift her up, to build her, and to give her the understanding of this aspect of her ministry of mental health. God, we just ask that everybody that's under the sound of my voice, that you encamp your angels around them, God, as they leave this place, but never your presence, God. Keep them, be with them, God. Give them sweet rest tonight. God, heal them from whatever internal demons that they're battling. But God, put people in their place. God, put people in their atmosphere that will inspire them, that will encourage them, that will help them get to the next level. And Father, most of all, allow them to get closer to you this year. Father, we just thank you and we praise you in Jesus Christ's mighty name. Amen, amen, amen. I love you. I love you. I love you. God bless you. We are here for you, and we're not too far for you to reach. Have a great night.